Hey there, Danny here. Welcome to my ramblings. Sorry about the AC. Hot here in the Great Desert. Wanted to say Happy Mother's Day to everybody out there. Includes everybody, even if you cannot have children. You probably love somebody's child. So Happy Mother's Day to everybody, no matter what. With that said, I want to talk to you today about scars. So I'm kind of a little bit of a tomboy, but I like girly, shiny things. I don't fit into the box that society says that we have to fit into. So I'm going to talk about scars because some people who have physical scars aren't ashamed of them. They share a story. So if somebody says, "Oh, where'd you get that scar from?" They say, "Oh, that's actually a funny story. When it happened, it was not funny. It was painful. But it's a great story to tell later." People can laugh. You can put the spin on it because you're not in that moment anymore. But what I don't understand about our society is, why don't we do the same with emotional scars? We all have them. We tend to hide them like there's some deep, dark secret. The truth is, we don't need to. The truth is, it was painful at the time, but they're great stories. And I'm going to share with you an emotional scar that I was reminded of. A friend of mine on Facebook that I respect dearly. We used to work together years ago, and I've watched her grow and become an amazing woman and an amazing mother. She had posted about taking care of her yard work, and it was the first time she ever had to do it. And she said that she cried doing it. So my scars, one of them, at the time I didn't know it. It was a painful, emotional scar. But the second husband disappeared. Just disappeared. It was a tumultuous situation in the last 3 years or so of the marriage. I didn't know it at the time, but he was addicted to meth. I would find this out later on. I'm just telling you that so you understand that the transition of him being who he was to where he is, where he came to at the end of our relationship, really drastically changed. So after he disappeared, I had to figure out what to do. And it was, my sons were 18 and 19 at the time. Almost 20 was the oldest. He left a little over a month before his 20th birthday. My oldest son and I were working. The youngest son was home. He had just graduated high school. He was taking care of making sure the dogs got out and garbage was taken out and whatever else, because my oldest and I were working our butts off just to provide a roof over our head. We spent that whole summer pretty much eating from food banks, and this is why I never became a bitter, man-hating woman, because my sons and their friends, when we went through this tumultuous scar time, their friends stepped up. A few of them worked at a restaurant, and they would bring over the leftover soup. So for a whole summer, we ate what we got from the food bank and soup. Let me tell you, at the end of that summer, none of us wanted soup for a while. I think it was about a year or two before we ever even thought about soup again. We wanted nothing to do with it. But we ate, and we were thankful for that. Well, one of our cars broke down. My oldest son had a 1985 Pontiac Fiero, and I had a 1984 CJ7. Loved that Jeep. I loved my CJ more than I did my Wrangler. Anyways, it broke down. We didn't have the money to pay anybody. Anybody I knew that could help me was not here in the Great Desert in Phoenix, Arizona. They were all back in Wisconsin. So I rationalized with myself, I got a college education. I can do this. It can't be that difficult. I've got Google and YouTube. Come on now. So I would spend a day or so watching videos and reading and whatever else. Then I'd go get the part, and it would be 110 degrees outside, scorching hot. My son would be at work, and I would be out turning the wrenches. Now, I'm not a large woman. I'm 120 at this point, 5'7". But back then, I was maybe 110, 108, 110. I had no upper body strength. So sometimes I couldn't break those nuts and those bolts loose on my own. But like I said, the reason that I'm not a bitter man-hating woman is because of my sons and their friends. Because either of my sons would come out and help me, or if they were not available, I could call any of their friends. I could text their friends, and they would come and they would help me. They would help me with whatever I needed. And I struggled the first few times I would work on a car. I'd be out there sweating my ass off, crying. There would be tears being shed. And after I would get done, if book time said that it takes 4 hours, it was taking me 8 to 12 because I had no idea what I was doing. But the second ex-husband, when he left a lot of his tools. So I had something to work with. So the first few times I fixed it, and it was good. And I was like, oh, thank God. And I would do this several times over. Mind you, we owned older vehicles. They were purchased thinking that the second ex-husband was going to be there, but he wasn't. At the time, this was very painful. The truth is, it turned out to be the biggest blessing in disguise. And I ended up spending a little over a year working on our cars. I had a neighbor that vandalized my son's car interior-wise because I refused to have sex with him. And I couldn't let my kid, he had to go to work. And I knew he had to, and he had to get sleep because he worked third shift at the time. So I went out there in the heat and I cleaned it all up and got it ready so he could go to work and not have to deal with it. It wasn't his fault that this person did it. But mind you, it was an old car, so the window didn't roll up. Anyways, point that I'm making about the scars is I walked away from working on those cars with way more self-confidence. It boosted my self-esteem and my self-confidence. Every time I had to fix something, every time I had to turn that wrench, and I cried. Eventually I got to the point where something broke down. I'm like, I got this. I can do this. And then when it would pass emissions or it would turn out okay, I'm like, I did that. I did that. Nobody else did it. The self-confidence, the self-esteem I got from it was amazing. But I also had a huge support system of people around me, my neighbors. So where I lived in the apartments, the one side of the street apartments, there was a road that separated the two sections. One side was regular blue-collar workers, and then the other side catered to a lot of Section 8. Not all of it was, but a large majority of it. So across the street from me, I was on the one side of the street facing that street, and across the street was a bunch of older people, a lot of elderly that were on fixed incomes and that were living on Section 8. So these lovely people across the street would they'd do things. So if they'd see me, so sometimes I'd be in my Jeep, and I don't know if you've seen the inside of the engine compartment on a CJ, an older one. but there's tons of room. So I'm tiny. So I would climb in there and all they would see is my ass sticking out. And they'd be like, oh, she's back at working in this heat. So they would come back with these giant freaking lemonades from the gas station because they had to go there or whatever. They would come back and come up to me and be like, hey, I got you this because it's just so hard what you're doing. And I would cry because I'm like, oh my God, that's so sweet and that's so nice. There was a gentleman named Art. He was in a wheelchair. He had a little Chihuahua puppy. And, well, it was a full-grown dog that was kind of aggressive. It would bite people's ankles, and it was just crazy aggressive dog. Anyways, dog and I ended up being best friends. I'll share that story with you at some point too. Anyways, he used to send people over to my door on Saturdays and Sundays, and sometimes at night after I'd get home from work, because I was driving as a cab driver. I got it right away, and I could make money now. So I was doing cab driving, and I was working 11, 12 hours a day. It was not something that I enjoyed doing. It was something that I was forced to do. So he would send people over to my apartment to come get me. And he would be like, go over to this apartment and tell Mija I need her to come over. And they'd come over and they'd be like, and I wouldn't know these people. I wouldn't know the people that came to my door, but I'd answer it and I'd be like, can I help you? They'd be like, yeah, Art across the street said to come get Mija. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm on my way. He always called me Mija. And I'd go over there and be like, Art, what did you need? Thinking that he needed my help with something or whatever. No, this man would make me breakfast on Saturday and Sunday mornings. He'd be like, I made breakfast. Come, sit down. I'll get you a plate. And I'm like, no, I can get it. He's like, no. He goes, you do so much. He goes, somebody needs to take care of you. I got it. I love this man to death. But that scar at the time was very painful. But the truth was, I don't look at it as painful anymore. It's a great story. I share with everybody how loved I was, how I felt loved and taken care of by these people who didn't have much, but they knew what I was struggling with, and they came through and helped out with whatever they possibly could. And we tend to hide and feel ashamed of our emotional scars, our hard things. But the truth is, those emotional scars, once you start to embrace them and look back over them, there's some great stories in there. And the truth is, you're gonna find that the people that love you and care about you are always present around you. The man upstairs, God, sends people into your life when you need them, and you don't even see it. But I was blessed. And the truth is, to this day, well, that's kind of why I bought the RV. Rationalize with myself that if I could fix a car, I can learn anything on the RV too. And I have. I've had some help. Like when I was in Wisconsin, a friend of mine had come over and helped me. He didn't really have to do anything. I just wanted somebody. I don't like going on the roof to reseal it up by myself. I want somebody there, so if I fall off, somebody can call 911 or get me some help. Anyways, and then when I was in Oklahoma, my father, which that was amazing for me because I didn't get to have my father in my life. My mother was a narcissist and kept us apart. So it was amazing to be able to work with my dad. And before I leave my dad's house, I always check the tires, check all the fluids, make sure that everything's good. I empty tanks. I make sure that I'm full on gas and whatever else I need. I usually don't fill up on propane. I always shut it off when I drive. I do not fill it up on propane. If I am driving somewhere, I'll wait until I get there. Pretty much the less weight, the better for me to drive, in my personal opinion. But it was great because I got to work with my dad. And then the one time that we were messing with, my taillight keeps falling off, and to replace it, it's like $500. And I'm like, I'm not spending that kind of money when I can just figure out how to put it up. So my dad and I are over there, and my sister Leslie came over, and all three of us were working on it. It was honestly that period in time was the greatest moment that I've ever had with my dad and my sister, and I will always cherish it. I can still see us in my mind out there working on it. It was amazing. She got to be in my dad's life more than I did, so her and him had a way of working together. So they did more of the work than I did. I just kind of helped out here and there as need be. But it was still an amazing time. So this is why I bought the RV, was because I rationalized with myself that I can fix it. And I have. I'm not one to shun away from stuff. Sometimes I'm afraid to do it. That fear's going to be there because I've never done it before. But having to turn those wrenches and fix that Pontiac Fiero and that CJ7 taught me that I can do anything. And that emotional scar, honestly, became my badge of honor. And it became my badge of honor because I know that there's nothing I can't do if I set my mind to it. I may shed a tear while I do something, but I know that when I get done with it and I figure it out, there's going to be so much self-confidence that I'm going to be able to know that I did it, which is why I want to redo the stuff in here. I want to paint, finish the flooring, get rid of some of the stuff. I want to make it mine, so it's my little home, my little sanctuary. And I have people that have offered to help that want to be part of it, but the truth is, unless I need the help because I physically can't do it, I don't really want the help. I want to do it myself. I want to be able to walk into this place and say, I did this. And when people come over and see the transformation that I've made with it, I want them to be like, wow, this is amazing. And I can be like, I did it. It's mine. I did it. And there's something to be said about that. And I think we are such a greedy society that let's just have somebody else do it. We're not growing. We're not learning. And that's the whole purpose that we're here, is to learn and grow. And I think that we get too stagnant and too focused, which is why I talk about the preconditioning. Because, and I'm going to say that there's roles that they think that men and women should have. I don't see those roles. If I'm moving, if somebody's moving or I'm moving and there's something heavy and it's just me and a guy, and they're like, well, I need to call a friend. I'm like, no, you don't. Let's do this. I'm not one to shun away. Let's do this. I got this. We can do this. So learn to embrace your scars and wear them as a badge of honor, just like you do your physical ones. Because although you may be shedding tears at this moment over something, the truth is, it's going to become your strength at some point. You can't see it right now, but it's a huge blessing in disguise. And I am the biggest supporter of those blessings in disguise. And I will share some more videos with you about other blessings in disguises in my life. But I just wanted to share with you that if you are having to going through the pain of an emotional scar at the moment, you're not alone. There are those of us that have been there, and we don't want you to feel alone. Reach out. I always keep my contact information below. Feel free to reach out, day or night, I don't care. I do delivery, so I can answer the phone whenever. If I need to stop doing delivery and we have to get serious about a conversation, then let's do it. You're not alone. Your physical scars are your badges of honor. I want your emotional scars to end up being your badge of honor too. So feel free to reach out. I'm working on some other things. I'm borrowing a friend's vehicle and he works during the day, so I get to go out late at night, and oh, did that mess me up last night. I like to always say that I'm somebody that enjoys change, which I always did in the past. I needed change, because when things got stagnant and whatever, I would be like, I need a change, I need it now. And I would pursue it. That's where I screwed up my kids, because we moved a lot. And that was my bad. I didn't think about that causing as many problems as it did. So I'm sorry, Carlisle and Devin. Your mother was learning, okay? Love ya. Anyways, I realized last night, because I didn't get to bed until after 1 o'clock in the morning. And I used to, if you watch my previous videos, I used to stay up until 1 or 2 in the morning. Well, I've been on this other schedule where I'm up at like 7:30 in the morning, and then I'm in bed before midnight. And last night I wasn't, and I really got frustrated. I was not thinking clearly. I was hangry. I was hungry, which makes me angry. So I came home and I ate, and I was frustrated. But why? Because it was change, and we don't embrace change as humans very well. And that is something that I never fully understood, but I do now. So you need to talk things out. You need somebody to see something that's not emotionally attached. You need to vent. You need to cry. You need to feel not alone. Contact information's below. Feel free to reach out. We'll get you through it. I promise. We'll help you. We, as in you and I, will be a team together for that moment. And once you get past all of your things and you energetically get up here, you can then help me help others get up here. That's what this is all about. Building our soul tribe, our soul family. So, with that said, I hope you all have a magnificent Mother's Day. And to all of the fathers that are mothers because they are single dads, happy Mother's Day to you too. Love you all. I'll see you in a day or two.